and that pool of water, which is to the west of the Grant statue, west being towards the Washington Monument, towards the Lincoln Memorial, and towards Arlington, Virginia, that you can see. The Grant statue, very large, probably the largest equestrian statue of anybody in the world is there, and it looks to me like the Tea Party people got themselves out to the Grant statue and slightly beyond it, but more than 75,000, I would not say. Certainly not what Michelle Malkin puts out, this reactionary harpy, and not what the mentally unstable Glenn Beck says about this. Right? This was not 2 million. I'm sorry, I wish it were, but it was not. Fine, 75,000 is a very good result. That's quite significant, and essentially, hats off to the people who went to break the spell against Obama. But of course, don't kid yourself that you're 10 feet tall when you're not. Look at who ran it, though. This was pure corporate Republican lobbyists, public relations firms, and others. If you look at the list of the speakers, and I think I watched almost all of them, there were no Democrats. You'd think they would have gotten Puma Democrats in there, anti-Obama Democrats who might have been pro-Hillary, but certainly anti-Obama. They could have had somebody from No Quarter USA, right, the Larry Johnson website. They could have had any number of Puma websites. No Democrats, no Pumas. There was not even any Ron Paul, right? You think they'd invite Ron Paul or somebody from that neck of the woods. No, they did talk about auditing the Fed at one point, but nothing about Ron Paul. There were no official libertarians, no official Constitution Party, any of the other groups that might have been there. No. This was pure corporate GOP. The Grover Norquist gang, the anti-tax extremists, were there in significant force. Not Grover Norquist himself, too well known maybe, but others. And largely it's this FreedomWorks Foundation. So it's a foundation, FreedomWorks Foundation, their foundation funded. This is a right-wing foundation, and this is Dick Armey. Remember him, the lieutenant to Newt Gingrich 14 years ago when the Republican House extremists, the right-wing radicals, they're not conservatives, they're right-wing radicals and right-wing extremists. When they took over the House of Representatives, remember Newt Gingrich, who today says he's concerned about old people, wanted Medicare to wither on the vine, and he still does. Dick Armey, who thinks that unemployment insurance is communism, that a minimum wage is communism, food stamps are communism, Social Security is communism, Medicare and Medicaid, all communism, WIC, I'm sure, is communism. So Dick Armey, the number one speaker, DeMint of South Dakota, I would call him dement, as in demented. Senator Demented of South Dakota was there, and Congressman Pence of Indiana. Congressman Pence, you didn't say anything about 100 nuclear reactors. The way to save the Republican Party, if you want to have one, is to make it the party of heavy industry, modern, high technology, high capital intensity, high energy density, high wage modern industry. That would be a reasonable platform, but it's not. That's not what they're going with. They're going with, we are the party of southern sweatshops, low-wage employers, low-wage small business, which, of course, these are groups that deserve help, but you cannot remake the society as a whole according to the needs of small business, because you don't get out of the Depression without heavy industry, capital goods production, something that the Republicans once stood for when they were the party of protectionism, from Lincoln indeed to Hoover. Protectionism was the great saving grace of the Republicans, whatever else they did. The highest protective tariffs ever under Republican presidents, and all to the good. But not anymore. Now it's free trade and sweatshops and the rest of this. So that's basically a blind alley in terms of the future of the United States. The Tobin tax turns the tables and gives it something positive, because remember, the rule of thumb is if you're not fighting bankers, you're wasting your time and you're spinning your wheels. Now, let's shift gears and look at Afghanistan. Terrible news coming in from Afghanistan. A big bomb in one of the Afghan cities has killed 6 of the Italian NATO forces, and I think that is going to start a very important dynamic on the Italian contingent, which is several thousand, that I think they're going to be out sooner rather than later. Remember, we've been looking at the British as candidates to leave, especially if Gordon Brown falls, as he's going to fall in the near future. And also the Canadians are candidates to leave for sure. Now they're joined by the Italians, and the message is all NATO, get out of Afghanistan. We'll be back in a minute.
The GCN Radio Network, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN, great talk radio starts here.
Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Let me call your attention to my recent books, 3 of them that you've got to read. You really can't understand anything if you don't know what's in these books. Surviving the Cataclysm, your guide to the greatest financial crisis in human history. You can find a way to buy that from tarpley.net, Tarpley.net, tarpley.net. Click on the cover of Surviving the Cataclysm, and you will be on the fast track to buying it. Same thing goes for Barack H. Obama, the unauthorized biography. Get it through tarpley.net. And similarly, Obama, the Postmodern Coup, the making of a Manchurian candidate. Get it through tarpley.net. We'll be referring to some of these books as they pop up, because they basically foreshadow much of what is going on around us today. The rundown, therefore, on these peace demonstrations, and make them as anti-Obama as you can. There are some demonstrations on Monday, October 5th. Again, what's the point of Monday? But since they're there, if you're off on Monday, go to those. Tuesday, October 7th, the 8th anniversary of the invasion of Afghanistan in the wake of the 9/11 stunt by the U.S. intelligence community. That's another one. So if you're off on Tuesday, October 7th, go to those. And then Saturday, October 17th, other anti-war actions. And unfortunately, there is no common front among even the groups that you think might be involved, the various answer coalitions, Peace and Justice, and so forth. They're all in disarray. Mainly because the foundations upon which some of these have depended don't want attacks on Obama. But there will be now a growing anti-war movement. The Italians, as I've said, in the wake of the killing of the 6 Italian soldiers in the past week, there's now a split. You can see it in the Italian government. The president of Italy, Napolitano, ex-communist, is totally on the stay the course line, and the defense minister, La Russa, also says time to renew our commitment to Afghanistan. Berlusconi shows himself again to be a possible statesman, certainly in this situation. Berlusconi, in many ways, the most positive head of government in Europe. That's why he's under attack. Figure it out. Learn something. Why is Berlusconi under attack? Because he sometimes does something halfway decent. Berlusconi says he wants a transition strategy to get out. He has already said the Italian forces had been augmented for the time of the Afghan election. So Berlusconi has now ordered the extra Italian forces back out of Afghanistan, and he says, I want a transition strategy. So you can see this pretty clearly. Berlusconi would like to terminate this. And again, forces in Britain also have seen the handwriting on the wall, and the Canadians, I think this is just a matter of time. Now, here in the United States, and this is big news, it's going the other way. There is a secret report. It's not being kept completely secret because it can't be. It's being leaked because it's very controversial. So leaks continue in Washington, even in the utopian golden age of Barkey. The secret report by General McChrystal, and you'll remember he is the certified war criminal, the guy who set up the torture chambers in Iraq. He's also probably the founder of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, which he conjured up out of a hat when it was needed for propaganda reasons under Mad Dog Bush the Younger. This General McChrystal, this is now Obama's hand-picked commander in the Afghan theater, is demanding 40,000. That is 40,000 additional U.S. forces on the fast track. There is an attempt by the Obama regime and the controlled media, and this is now a broad array, including left-wing media, will not mention this. It's 40,000. Fox News, put it on. Great. That's why you need a free press. Evil people do good. Fox News reporting, antiwar.com repeating, McChrystal wants 40,000, 40,000. Additional U.S. forces. That would mean that since Obama taking office, the U.S. forces in Afghanistan would have increased 300%. Now, there's a surge. That goes way beyond any surge carried out by Mad Dog Bush the Younger in Iraq. That's the troop level that Obama is demanding. And this is not just talk. 3,000 additional GIs are on their way to Afghanistan right now. So